Well, hello and welcome back to the channel. If this is your first time here, my name is Rita. I hope you all are doing well today. So we are going to talk about Brandon Johnson. No, we're not going to cover the city council meeting. No, we're not going to talk about any of that stuff. What we are going to talk about today is this idea that Democratic Socialists have the worker in their best interest, and they are pro-poor people, and they are pro-middle class, and they want to do everything to help the migrants, and on and on and on. Today, we are going to talk about how Brandon Johnson is slated to receive $1.8 million in pension money once he retires, and maybe not even after he retires, maybe sooner than that. So let's jump right into this article. And this is from the Illinois Policy Institute. They keep an eye policy-wise on what is going on. Loophole will let Brandon Johnson collect pension now worth $1.1 million. Okay. Chicago mayoral candidate Brandon Johnson is, well, let me start off here. Mayoral candidate, and this is before he obviously was in office. Mayoral candidate and Chicago Teachers Union organizer Brandon Johnson is eligible to collect an estimated $1.1 million pension through the Chicago's Teachers Pension Fund, despite only teaching for 4 years. His future path could yield a public pension worth over $2.8 million. Okay. Chicago mayoral candidate Brandon Johnson is currently, we read that part already. Let's move down a little bit. But he could boost his pension significantly beyond $1.1 million if he keeps his job as a Chicago Teachers Union organizer. When you hear that word organizer, understand what that means. It means activist. Johnson was previously employed as a teacher at Chicago Public Schools, where he was a Tier 1 participant in the Chicago Teachers Pension Fund. Johnson was only a social studies teacher for 4 fiscal years from 2008 to 2011, according to data from the Illinois State Board of Education. Then he went on to work for Chicago Teachers Union as a paid activist. See? Because of a loophole in Illinois' pension code, Johnson appears to have been allowed to continue to participate in the Chicago teachers' pension, even though he was no longer a school employee. Normally, teachers must work at Chicago Public Schools for 5 years to become eligible to retire with a pension. The Illinois Pension Code allows Johnson to continue to accumulate creditable service toward his pension as a result of his employment with CTU, because he was a participant in the teachers' pension system prior to 2012. This loophole has since been closed for those who began participating in the pension system after January 5th, 2012. As a CTU employee, Johnson has received an additional 12 years of service credit with the pension system, enough time to become eligible to receive a pension in retirement. Johnson's retirement benefit from the teacher system will likely be based on his union salary, which has averaged nearly $90,000 annually during the past 4 years. He earned an average of less than $58,000 during his 4 years of teaching. Yeah. Why would, if you're a con man, this is like hitting the gold mine. This whole outfit here. Johnson's current service credits with the teacher's pension make him eligible to retire at age 62 with full benefits. If he does so, he would be expected to receive nearly $1.1 million in pension payments during retirement. If he keeps his job with the Chicago Teachers Union, it would raise his pension payments substantially as he accumulates more years of creditable service. Okay. Wow. So, and it has a graph here showing like the loophole and how many benefits accrue over time with the being an activist. Imagine being paid to push propaganda. So when people look at black people like Brandon Johnson and say, oh, you're supposed to be fighting for us. Now, why on earth would he do that when he could fight for the teachers unions and fight for the Democratic Socialists? Because that's what he is. He's a Democratic Socialist. So as are the 19 other aldermen who he's put on special counsel. I mean, this is a freaking gold mine. If Johnson works for another 13 years, reaching age 60, his pension would double to an estimated $2.2 million based on his current salary. Should his salary keep pace with expected inflation, Johnson's pension will be worth an estimated $2.8 million. Now, it should be said, I was reading another article just the other day that said Brandon Johnson gave himself, along with all the other aldermen, I think 2.5% raise already. I think there were 2 aldermen who decided not to take it, but all the rest of them obviously took the raise, given everything that's going on in Chicago. But that's not all. Johnson was elected as the Cook County Commissioner in 2018, making him eligible to participate in the Cook County Pension Fund too. So Illinois, if you're wondering why you're in such debt, here you go. Now, why did I talk about this? Why did I even cover this story? Because I think it's important for people who think socialism is great. For people who think, oh, capitalism is the worst. Well, you're socialist politicians, and you can decide you don't want to claim him all you want to. Because that's what will happen. You'll talk about these people, and then the socialists will go, we don't claim him. We don't claim AOC. We don't claim them. They're not real. No, they are real. They are real, because this is what they do. They lie to poor and middle class people, or people who are just unaware, or who operate in all their feelings all the time. They play on your emotions. They talk about how much they're for the poor, how much they want to tax the rich. And meanwhile, they are looking to collect millions. AOC is another one. She wore, like I just mentioned, that tax the rich dress that was reportedly worth, I don't know, $2,000-$3,000. And she wore it to a gala. It's almost like mockery. It's almost like people like Brandon Johnson, they mock their constituents. They have such disdain. They think we're stupid. They mock you. She shows up at a gala in a couple $1,000 dress. By the way, she's worth an estimated $13 million. Wow, how do you get that much money? According to the interwebs, she's worth $13 million, AOC. How do you get that much money coming from being a bartender? Okay. All I'm saying is these people who claim they're socialists, they're for the people, this, that, they are not. They have no desire to really help people out of poverty. I wish people in poverty would understand this, because they play on your heartstrings and they tell you that they want to put 5 million different programs in. But understand, when government officials start talking about all the many programs they're going to have for the poor people, this is number one, a way to pull on your heartstrings and have you thinking they're really for you, when really they're just looking for their 1.1 or $2.8 million pension to come through. Let's be real. Or they're looking for insider trading tips for people in Congress. That's the first thing. The second thing is they're telling you this because they want to hook you on government assistance. They want you to continue to cast your vote for them with the promise that they're going to help you out, that they're going to put in programs that are going to help you and your family. Let's just say, for argument's sake, that they were going to set up all these programs. Let's just say. What happens when they decide to change the rules on you and you don't follow the rules? They're going to rip your program. So this is a way to blackmail people and coerce people into doing what they want. They want to keep you poor is what they want. Let me tell you a story. Okay. I'm going to tell you a little story. And I talked to my mom about it. She was okay with me sharing. So my mom had me pretty young. Surprise, surprise. Yes. I know. Go ahead with the jokes. But anyway, she, for a season, for a spell, had to be on public assistance. And she was also working because she hated being on public assistance. She hated the idea of being told or having to fill out paperwork and jump through all the hoops you have to jump through. So she was on it, and she was only allowed to get food stamps. She was working a job and going to school. The job was paying just enough for rent or whatever. She wasn't getting Section 8 or anything like that. All she was getting was food stamps and medical. Okay. Because her job didn't give medical. So she was getting that. She said that they bugged her so bad to come into the office. It was like every month. They were wanting her to take off work and come into the office to show paperwork and to do all this stuff. And she's like, can I mail you this stuff? They're like, no, we have to see you in person. She said they made it so hard for her to continue to go to school and work, because she would tell them, I can't take off. I'm trying to finish school. I got this full-time job. I'm a single parent. I cannot keep taking off work to come down to this office to show you paperwork that I could very well mail you. They would not have it. So she felt bullied getting food stamps. And that was a motivator for her, an extra motivator for her to be like, forget this. So she had to drop out of school and just work full time. Once she started working full time, she started making a little more money. And this wasn't even great money. Okay. She started making a little more money and they kicked her off her food stamps. And her medical. Thank God she had a job where working full time, she could get a little bit of medical, which still wasn't great, but it was better than nothing. So this is a type of games they play with poor people. They tell you they're going to give you something, and then they threaten, coerce, and try to push you back into poverty. While meanwhile, they're looking at their stock portfolios and they're waiting for all the pension money that they're going to get. And meanwhile, they're telling you how they're so pro poor people and they want to help. They don't want to help. They want to use poor people because they think poor people are stupid and they think they know better. And they're going to try to hook you on their benefits so they can coerce you and force you into things you don't want to do later. I mean, they're freaking gangsters. These socialists who get in office, these democratic socialists, this is just a con. This is a con job. A con job where they con the poor, the middle class, and let's not forget the poor, the silly, naive white liberals who think that they're helping the poor black folk and the poor whatever folk and the poor whoever folk, right? They think they're helping poor black people when in actuality, they're just feeding into this nasty, vicious cycle. The reason I think that people look at the two parties and compare is because, neither one are perfect, obviously, but Democrats are not democratic socialists, because that's what I'm just going to straight up call them now. Most of them have already assigned to it. Some people are still trying to hide in the shadows like that's not what they are. But the reason I call this out is because they try to act like they're for the people and they try to demonize Republicans. But if you look at what they're doing, you look at their platforms, you look at how they're flooding already poor communities with even more poor people and then stripping resources, it lets you know that this is all a game for them. Their policies, people say, oh, Republican policies don't benefit black people. Yes, they do. And here's why. You're not special, like I've said in a previous video, but we are not special. We're not special needs like we need. Just get out of the way. That's the whole thing. Stop over-regulating businesses. When you're an entrepreneur, you're trying to start a small business, Democrats will step in your way. Try to open a business in Chicago and see how much red tape there is. You want to open a storefront, whatever. Oh my gosh, forget it. They don't promote that. Much like the squatters thing, they don't promote ingenuity. They don't promote private property. They don't promote entrepreneurship. I saw Brandon Johnson in an interview recently where he was talking about basically how we shouldn't reward children who are getting good grades because it makes the other children feel bad. So we shouldn't reward that. There should be equity. And by the way, that's what equity means. It means when you have a student who's doing well, you don't promote him, you don't celebrate him. What is that going to do? That is going to squash the spirit of the kid who wants to do well and make them not try hard and make them not be an entrepreneur. I want people to just give up. Now, when people try to compare the parties and say, oh, the parties are all the same, they're not the same. Republicans will at least not over-regulate the living daylights out of your business. They'll step out of your way. Okay, you want to start a business? Go ahead. No, we're not going to give you free stuff. No, we're not going to help you in that way, but we will help you by letting you do your thing. Democrats don't want you to do your thing. They want you to be hooked on them. It's like some abusive relationship. Proof is in the pudding. Democrats can say all they want that or these socialists, these democratic socialists can say all they want that they're for the people, yada, yada, yada. They can come out and say that stuff, but they are not. They are for the people as pawns. Look at how they're treating these migrants. They invited these migrants over here with promises of gold and silver, only to have them, like a picture in Boston I just saw, laid out all over the airport where passersby can peer at them. They haven't put anything in place for these people. They invited these people over and then they have them sleeping on the street. And Brandon Johnson has the audacity to be evicting some of them now. Well, don't evict them now. So you've invited them over here. You got what you wanted. Now you might be getting your congressional seats because apparently, because as you've heard, we talked about in this channel, these Democrats are talking openly about wanting these migrants in their district so they can redistrict, so they can have more seats in Congress. This is part of the plan. As far as that border bill that came through, yeah, that border bill was still going to be allowing 5,000 illegals per day to come through. And that doesn't count the gotaways, the people who are creeping in through the northern and southern border, and being found, DOA, frozen to death in the northern border and drowned in the southern border. These people do not care about these people. They don't care about these migrants. They don't care. That's all I have to say. I really just wanted to point out this idea that for people who are all about socialism and all this stuff, they do the same thing in every single country. These people who tout socialism. I know for younger people, they don't fully understand, maybe because they have only learned in our infiltrated public schools about how great it is and how equitable it is. But think about it this way. Let's say you worked your butt off. Would you be okay with somebody being like, no, I didn't work, but can you give me half your stuff? I mean, honestly, how are you going to feel about that? They're able-bodied as much as you are. You know that they're lazy and they don't want to do anything, but they're looking for a handout from you. This is what people like Brandon Johnson will propose. Like he talked about the students. This is what he will propose. So what if they didn't work as hard? That's okay. Give them your stuff anyway. This is what socialism is. These people get in office, they pretend they're for the people, they talk about universal health care and all this other stuff, and they always, it has not happened any other way. They always get in office and magically they become rich. And everybody is starving in their country. All their citizens are starving. They try to blame other countries and they'll do all this stuff. And then next thing you know, you catch a picture of their kids vacationing in Bali. While the citizens are standing in the bread lines. So democratic socialism, all that stuff, it's all really free market, because right now what we're living in is a crony capitalism type situation where, the tech companies and all these other companies are working side by, and the non-governmental organization NGOs are working with the government to basically stifle individualism in this country. So it's really fascism is what's going on. Is working against the people. Fascism is just the flip of the coin of communism. It's all the same crap. It all wants to stifle entrepreneurship. It wants to stifle individualism. It wants everybody to be a carbon beige copy of one another and of what they input into people. And yeah, it's not conducive. If you're voting and you want representatives who are going to get out of the way, not regulate the daylights out of you, and let you do what you have to do. You don't want some government who's going to come and start giving you stuff. Because if they give you stuff, even if you feel like you're owed it, they're going to definitely be looking at you like you owe them something. And if you don't give it to them, whether it's votes or whatever, they're going to snatch away whatever they gave you. Like I said, they operate like the mob. Anyway, what do you guys think? Let me know your thoughts below. Don't forget to like and subscribe if you enjoy my content. Until next time, ciao. God bless.